If you know me, or more so on a personal level, then you'd know that I have two main OCs that I work with, Sunflower and Catailina. But there are people who know me who hear those names and they're already like, uh-oh. If you don't know me on a personal level, which is probably most of you, then you know Sunflower and Catailina from these videos on my channel.
When friends come to call.
I haven't properly debuted them, that's because of their ruined image. So what's the problem with these characters? For starters, Sunflower, she's a nudist, and Catalina is a cat girl. Sunflower is the main problem area, however. She wasn't always like this. In this video, I'd like to finally talk you through and explain these characters that I love so much, but am afraid of sharing in full. I will also go through how and why they are the way they are and explain myself because there's a lot I need to talk about regarding myself and my history. But let's start with Sunflower. How did she start? Where did she begin? When did I create her? I'm pretty sure that I was in elementary school when I did. Screeching halt there for you, I know. You created a nudist character in elementary school? No, I did not, because she didn't start that way. When I was in elementary school, I would stay afterwards to play with a group of kids on the playground. We'd play pretend, all sorts of different adventures. For some of those adventures, it required us to split and hide from a monster or police or whatever was out to get us. While I was alone and waiting for the monster to catch me, I felt weird talking to myself. So I decided to talk to myself. Except in my mind, what I talked to was a random, venturous and brave girl. She didn't have a set name. Actually, I'm pretty sure I called her Alberta at first, but later on did she finally get the rare name Sunflower. Fast forward, I moved to a different city, and now it's middle school in the 7th grade. Puberty was just making its entrance. It was during this time that I made a comic series titled Tropical Island about a boy named Albs and a girl named Katrina living with each other on a tropical island. Later it evolved, and I think it was a friend of mine who suggested adding animal people. But not furries, like people with animal features. This idea is what made Catailina and her sister Cloggy. The idea with these Anna people were that they weren't born like that. They were created by a scientist long ago who fused animals with people. Tropical Island wasn't my most creative idea, but one I hold dear to me, and Catailina being a character that stood out from the rest. The weird love I had for cat girls just did not help my love for the character grow any less fond. I must reiterate that puberty was just going right through during this time. My interest in girls began to get serious and the hormones were very clearly doing their thing. We arrive a few years later to 2017. That summer I looked further into working with Sunflower. I wanted to learn to draw people, so I began with the female body, and obviously, because it's me, I love that. I drew Sunflower naked for the first time, and I liked how it turned out. It was different, exciting. I was exploring new things, and the hormones sure as heck liked that. So I did more, and I wouldn't be afraid to show them off to my family because it was just her body. I wasn't drawing any sexual activity. Someone then joked, I don't remember who, but someone once told me, you draw her naked so many times she looks like a nudist. And that idea, it stuck with me. I thought that was funny because I drew her naked so many times and I just said, you know what, might as well. And from that day forth, Sunflower made a major change. She decided that she doesn't like clothes. On occasion, do we see nudist characters in media, but usually they're like in weird side characters, and Sunflower, I guess, was kind of like this exploration of what if the main character was a nudist. As the years went on, it only grew from there. I experimented, but I did so too much. Sunflower wasn't meant for her nudism to be sexualized, but I did so anyway. I put Sunflower in all kinds of sexual situations, and that changed her further, but to an unfortunate degree, because I didn't know then how much that would bite me back. It gave Sunflower a very difficult reputation, and Catailina, she joined that wagon. This was 2018 when they were in the height of being looted to the depths of hell and back. And that was that. That was just the story. Catailina only got worse with the fact that to explain her rampant lewdness, her fusion came with a side effect that she's stuck in heat, and the only way to relieve her is, but yeah, doing things. It's so stupid. I know it's disgusting. Yes, it is horrid, but that's what I'm stuck with. 2019 came with a very interesting change in my life. I began dating someone, but my first relationship came with a twist. As soon as we started dating, they moved 2 hours away, and it made things difficult. To explain lightly and in a friendly way, we both kind of moved things along in our relationship, maybe faster than I should have let it. This fast closeness that we built left me going up this roller coaster hill, climbing and climbing until I reached the top, and we broke up. I was stuck at the top of this roller coaster, and I wanted more. Having an empty hole within me, I had Sunflower and Catailina join me and bring this roller coaster over the hill. But that dang car just kept going, and it went faster and faster and faster, and I fell into a state of just no shits given. I thought I'd never find someone like her again, and I lost all hopes, and in the meantime becoming something I wish I hadn't. I was known by my friends at a point as the horniest member of the loony submarine. The pandemic came and it just nailed the coffin lid right in. I was never going to find a girl who would love me again, and I was going to believe that it would stay that way. I put Sunflower and Catailina onto a body pillow. I wrote them into my own smut. I drew them into lewd comics. I had my best friend think I really was about to go off the deep end. I was broken, destroyed, in shambles, having a side to myself that I could not live without. I think it was so easy for me to become this way because that's just the way I am. I grew up with a European country. In Spain, people are more shameless than most. I grew up with a sense that it's okay to not be scared of the human body, and it's okay to recognize those feelings. I would have been more normal if it weren't for how I was left at the top of that roller coaster hill, waiting for things to get further, but they just never did. And it's not the fault of my ex. I should have known what was too far. I did this to myself. I could have climbed down from the roller coaster hill, but I didn't. I felt empty, lonely, broken. And I stayed that way up until college. I wouldn't talk to anyone unless they talked to me. Then one day, while I was repeating my foundation form class, I sat at this table with 3 other women. I went through my own stuff and I minded my own business until I decided to talk. I became part of conversations. I made a few friends, Andrea, Heather, and especially with the person in front of me, Rosella. We grew to like each other, and it led us to love each other. The days I was ready to confess to her every horny feeling, every lewd thought, just gone. No amount of lewdness matched the true and genuine love in my heart, and it was freeing. MT has pigeon wings now because he can fly, and he flies away from who he was before Rosella. He is free. He has the love he thought he would never get, and it's just, the chains were broken. This relationship started and goes on so differently than my first. It's slow, we take our time, and everything just feels natural, and it's just feels so right. It's so correct. I got what I was waiting for, and I crossed a bridge that I never thought I'd cross. As for Catailina and Sunflower, they're just characters to me. They are still my favorite OCs, but they are less to me than they were before, and I am happy about that. But I still ruin them during that time of loneliness and hopelessness. They're so difficult to work with because of what they were before. A part of me hopes I can repair them in their image, even if it takes Sunflower putting a shirt back on, and Catailina actually being normal. But I still love them for the characters I created them to be at first. I love what Sunflower became in the summer 2017. It was controversial. It was exciting. It was just such a... The fact that she's so taboo just is what makes her such an interesting character to me. And I love what Catailina ended up now. She changed so much since I first wrote her into Tropical Island. They're more than just characters used to fuel my troubled mind. They have personalities to them. Sunflower's adventurous, strong. She built her own hut in the forest by hand. She's a bookworm. She actually doesn't like eating sunflower seeds, and she's just a friendly, shameless, and good-spirited lady who just so happens to like to show off too much. Catailina is the same kind of personality as Sunflower, an overall likable person. She's not the brightest, but she's affectionate, respectful to others, and very outgoing. She likes collecting plastic rings and trying on different outfits. Her taste in things is so wild that she would unironically drink pumpkin spice, not because of its cultural impact, but because she just likes it. She'd buy the most awful looking shoes because in her eyes they're cute. Catailina is such a positive character, and I don't love her just because she has cat ears and a cat tail and cat-like instincts that she can't control. These are my characters, and I grew them over the years. Sunflower and Catailina have so much more to them, but those close to me or a select few that I know only put their lewdness before that, and the fact that enough people do that is what ruins them. They are my most precious characters, and I've destroyed them. I hope someday I can show off their stories and finally fix them. The reason I made this video is because I owe myself an explanation. I owe so many people an explanation given they will listen. And I know I sound like I'm just the loneliest loser, just another pathetic human being on the internet with a really weird story and really weird situation. I know I feel like I'm telling some cringe Reddit story right now, but I feel like I owe the world an explanation. Not just of Sunflower and Catailina, but of what became of me as well. I'm just analyzing myself here. I'm just trying to come to terms with what happened. I hope I never become like this again. I don't anticipate it. I'm happy with how things are going with me and Rosella and everything else, and I do nothing to change that. Yet I am still working on myself in some areas, and I hope to become a better version of myself. One of my greatest challenges right now is overcoming how I find it easier to create not safe for work or mature content than normal things. And I know the stuff I have out on my channel show otherwise, but behind the curtain, I have so many more ideas and concepts that are just too adult to have anywhere. And it annoys me how I find certain ideas to be so good and creative, yet there's no audience for it. And I have to deal with it. I tried to get a start on maturity increase, but I feel intimidated and afraid that I will go too far. Even if I know I wouldn't, I understand how to really control myself online and around others in real life. I stopped thinking about providing for the maturity increase channel since Rosella happened anyway. Maybe someday I'll still come up with something. Of course different than what I originally thought, but the time I spent coming up with ideas and how the link to it is still in the description of every video, I think I owe it to myself to try and do more mature content like I always wanted to. I'm treating it like it hasn't been done before, like it's a strange new concept, but really it isn't. There are so many other content creators that make mature content and adult content, and they go to Newgrounds and post not safe for work or whatever. But it's a different case for me. I spent so much time building this friendly image of myself online. And as much as I love the idea of making adult content, I feel like that would ruin things. That would ruin me. There's so much adult content out there on the internet that genuinely thrives and has a genuine audience. And I have so many ideas, so much in my bank, but I'm just afraid. I'm afraid I'll do it wrong. I'm afraid I'll ruin myself, like I ruined Sunflower and Catailina. That's basically it. That's where I'm at. I had a life-changing time again and again as a content creator and creative person, and it affected my creation so deeply. I still feel awful about how it affected something I cared deeply about, and I wish to heed this warning to others. Do what you will so your art doesn't separate from you. Don't let yourself fall so deep in the hole that your art and creations are taken of their potential. Watch yourself and catch yourself before you fall.